Welcome to this explainer. I'm really excited to dive into this one with you. Today we're unpacking a truly profound lecture given by Radhanath Swami. He delivered this talk at ISKCON Chowpatty in India, back on March 20th, 2010. We're going to be looking at his deep dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically Canto 8, Chapter 15, texts 33 to 34. Get ready, because we're about to explore some pretty radical ideas about power, duty, and sacrifice. Here's how we'll break it down today. First, we'll look at the 2010 Chowpatty lecture itself. Second, the story of how Bali Maharaj surrenders all. Third, we'll explore Ramanujacharya's path of devotion. Fourth, Kurisha's ultimate sacrifice. And finally, we'll wrap up with the main points and a quick summary. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The 2010 Chowpatty lecture. So Radhanath Swami sets up this fascinating cosmic conflict right out of the gate. You have the Devas, or demigods, and the Asuras, the demons. And they're fighting tooth and nail over a literal nectar of immortality. Now, why do they want it so badly? Because it granted ultimate material power, immense physical strength, health, longevity, you name it. But here's where the lecture completely flips the script. True spiritual power, it isn't some magical potion you just drink to become invincible. It doesn't work like that. It's actually bestowed through the heartfelt blessings of great souls. When you serve saintly people with real humility and devotion, that is when you access a kind of power that is, quite frankly, unstoppable. Section 2. Bali Maharaj surrenders all. Now, I really want you to picture this unbelievable sequence of events. Bali Maharaj was literally annihilated by the Devas in battle. He was gone. He owed his life entirely to his guru, Shukracharya, who used these mystic mantras to actually bring him back from the dead. And it doesn't stop there. By faithfully serving his guru, Bali was given so much power that he conquered the heavenly planets. He even terrified the king of heaven. So keep this in mind. Bali owed literally everything, his life, his army, his entire universal conquest, to his guru. But then the Supreme Lord Vishnu appears right in front of Bali, disguised as a little dwarf named Vamanadev, and he just asks for 3 steps of land. Simple, right? Well, Shukracharya immediately sees right through the disguise. He explicitly orders Bali to break his promise, basically saying, don't give it to him. This little dwarf is actually Vishnu. I am personally declaring this an absolute emergency. So Bali is placed in an impossible situation. I mean, think about it. Do you reject the Supreme Lord? Or do you face the terrifying curse of the exact person who gave you your life and your empire? Well, Bali makes the unthinkable choice. He chooses to accept his guru's curse. He loses his empire, his power, his entire standing, all just to please the Supreme Lord. He surrendered absolutely everything he had built. But here's the crazy part. Because he surrendered all that power, Bali didn't actually lose. He became eternally known as a Mahajan. That's a great saintly leader who attains ultimate perfection through pure, loving service. And because of this massive sacrifice, the Lord actually awarded Bali a planet that was even better than heaven. It's called Sutala. And to top it all off, the Lord himself became Bali's eternal doorkeeper. So, counterintuitively, letting go of his power led to the ultimate victory. Section 3. Ramanujacharya's path of devotion. Let's look at how Ramanuja became a leader, because this moment in the lecture is absolutely miraculous. When the great teacher Yamunacharya passed away, his hand was tightly clenched, with 3 fingers folded in, and nobody had any idea why. But when Ramanuja stood before his body, he vowed to fulfill 3 specific, unfulfilled desires of the departed saint: spreading pure love for Vishnu, writing the Sri Bhashya commentary, and honoring Parasaramuni. As he made these vows, the fingers miraculously opened one by one. Ramanuja just deeply, intrinsically understood the heart of a guru he had practically never even spoken to. Later in life, Ramanuja was told he needed to receive a highly confidential mantra from a saint named Gostipurna. Talk about patience. Ramanuja walked this vast distance back and forth 18 separate times, only to be rejected and turned away again and again. But he just kept going back with incredible humility. He was totally convinced he was just unqualified, until finally, on the 18th try, he was deemed worthy to receive this secret, liberating mantra. But there was a catch. And it was a big one. The strict condition of receiving this empowerment was absolute secrecy. Gotshipurna told him this mantra was a supreme jewel that would liberate anyone who heard it, sending them straight to the spiritual world. But he warned Ramanuja, with absolute dead seriousness,
If you share this with anyone unqualified, you will perpetually suffer in hell.
So put yourself in his shoes. Would you willingly suffer eternal damnation to guarantee the spiritual liberation of thousands of total strangers? Well, Ramanuja immediately walked into town and did the unthinkable. He climbed right to the top of the temple tower, gathered thousands of ordinary people, and shouted this heavily guarded, secret mantra at the top of his lungs. He even had them repeat it 3 times just to make absolutely sure they would all be liberated.
Obviously, his guru was furious. Trembling with anger, Gostupna curses him to hell for this blatant disobedience. But Ramanuja gives this stunning response. He says, "A little person like me going to hell to bring thousands to Vaikuntha, it's a very small thing." He was completely willing to accept eternal damnation if it meant others found salvation. This pure, unalloyed compassion completely melted Gostupner's heart. All his anger just vanished, and he actually accepted his own disciple as his guru.
Section 4, Kurish's Ultimate Sacrifice. Fast forward a bit. A hateful king of the Chola dynasty sends assassins to arrest Ramanuja, basically intending to force him to convert or face a brutal death. But one of Ramanuja's householder disciples, Kuresh, begs to swap clothes with him. Kuresh puts on Ramanuja's saffron robes so his guru can escape in white garments. Now, Kuresh didn't view this deadly risk as some terrifying burden. To him, it was the highest possible honor to give his life for his teacher. It gets incredibly intense here. The king's executioners drag Kuresh into the jungle. They brutally beat him, and they actually burn his eyes out with red-hot iron rods. But, unbelievably, even after being utterly blinded and tortured, Kuresh turns his face to the executioners and thanks them. He literally tells them he is eternally indebted to them for allowing him to render such an intimate service to his Gurudev. It's just mind-blowing. And I really want to show you the true depth of this surrender. Later on, Lord Vishnu appears to Kuresh and offers the blinded saint absolutely any reward he desires. Kuresh doesn't ask for revenge. He doesn't even ask for his own pain to go away. He exclusively asks for the salvation of the exact men who tortured and betrayed him. He prays for the Chola king to be forgiven and elevated, and he prays for the envious disciple who planned the attack. He secured eternal life in the spiritual world for his absolute worst enemies. And when the Lord directly offered him his physical eyes back, Kuresh firmly refused. He basically said there was absolutely nothing left in the material world that he even wanted to see. He only asked for the spiritual vision to constantly behold the Lord and his guru within his heart. This right here is the absolute pinnacle of renouncing material power for spiritual grace. Section 5, Main Points and Summary. Let's tie this all together. So, what is the crucial takeaway from Bali Maharaj, Ramanujacharya, and Kuresh? It's that eternal glory is not achieved by clinging to authority. It's not about hoarding mystical nectar, and it's certainly not about strict obedience to rules when they lack empathy. True power comes from the blessings of great souls. You find it when you are willing to risk everything, your kingdom, your salvation, even your eyes, out of humility, love, and a radical, unalloyed compassion for others. I want to leave you with a provocative thought to wrap up this explainer. In a world that is completely, totally obsessed with acquiring, defending, and hoarding power, what literal miracles could you set in motion if you finally chose to let yours go? Thanks so much for joining me today, and I really hope this totally reframes how you view true empowerment.